Hello friends, my name is Halfan Mohammed, and in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how you can make visitor counters in your website using PHP. There are many ways from which you can implement this process. From here I will be showing you several ways to afford this process. Now we are going to check two ways to be used on how do you count the number of visitors in your website using PHP. Then we are going to be using two methods. The first method is using text file, and the second one is IP address of your visitor. As you know that by using IP address, we will be able to trace both the unique visitor per day, total unique visitors, and how many times they have accessed the different pages of your website. Let us get started with using text file. From here I am using a Notepad++ as my text editor, but you can use your own favorite text editor to write these codes. First of all, I have opened a new blank page in order to implement this process. Let me save this to my local host. I'm going to call it as counter.php. Then I'm going to save this. Let me open PHP delimiters. And from here I will be writing all the codes which will be enabling us to trace the number of visitors who have been visiting your website daily. These are the complete codes which shows the full process and how you can implement. First of all, I'll be explaining these codes step by step so that you can get into it without any problem. First of all, I have started the session by using the session start function, which is a built-in function from PHP. Then after you have started the session start, or after you have called that function session start as a built-in PHP function, first of all we'll declare the name of our file as a variable named counter name. Here I have declared my text file I have declared a variable and assigned it a value, the name of my text file. Then if the file does not exist, we create one using file open, and here we are going to check first if this file exists or not exists. If this file doesn't exist, file counter.txt that does not exist, then we are going to create a new file. That is why we have used if not file exists counter name, but the value of counter name is counter.txt. Then if this file doesn't exist in our server, then we are going to create a new file named counter.txt by using the fopen function, which takes two parameters. And the first parameter is a file name, which is a counter name, and the second parameter will be the mode in which it should operate. I have put this W as my second parameter, and this W means that this file should be opened for writing purpose. Then after we have opened this file called counter.txt, then we want to write or initialize it to 0. That is why I have used another function called as fWrite, which takes two parameters. The first parameter should be the pointer, which is a variable you have declared during opening of your file. And the second parameter from the fWrite function must be the value which you want to be written to your file. Then we close the pointer. The third step is to read the current value of our counter file. Once we have opened or we have found that this file exists or doesn't exist, and then we have opened it and initialized it to 0, then we check the value inside this file counter.txt. For example, here we are going to read the current value of our counter file. We create another point by using fopen, and here the first parameter of our function fopen should be the name of our file, the counter.txt, and then the second parameter should be the mode in which it should operate. I have put R. R means that this should be opened for reading only. Then we declare another variable counter_var, which is going to be fread. We are going to be using fread as the function for reading the value inside a counter.txt file. And this fread function expects two parameters. And the first parameter should be the pointer, which is this one. And the second is the strength or length of your file. That is why we have put file size to read the file size of our created file, which is a counter.txt. Then we close the counter. After that, we can see that has vista been counted in this session. If not, increase counter value by 1. We check has this vista already visited this page or this site. If yes, then you need not to increment your counter value. But if the vista doesn't visit your website at that time, then that is why we have said that if it's not set session has visited, then we are going to initialize this session. Then at that moment, that user will be counted as a visitor at that moment. After we increment the counter value from here. We declared this variable here, then we increment it by 1. After incrementing it by 1, we open again the file, which is a counter.txt, in writing mode. We want to write the incremented value from our counter value. Then we say fWrite, we put our counter, and then counter value, the value which has been incremented here. Now we close our counter. By using these codes, you can be able to count the number of visitors uniquely per day which have visited your website. Let us test if these codes works perfectly. Let me save them. And then open Google Chrome. I'm going to let localhost. If you check here, I have just a file known as counter.php, but the counter.txt doesn't exist. I'm going to click this. After I have clicked it, you can see there is nothing. But if you go, you can find, if you go to to your local host, you can find that the counter.txt file has been created, and if you open it, you'll find that this value has been incremented on by 1. Let us try refreshing this page. If we refresh the counter.php, then you go to your, if we open it, you can find that we have got only 1 because I have visited that page once, and that is what we need. But if I open this link using another browser, we will see our counter.txt increments by 1. If we refresh, then go to counter.txt. If we open it, you can see that it has incremented by 1, and then we get 2. Then now we can see that we have 2 visitors visited our page or your website at a certain time. Then how if we want to display the values from this counter.txt? If you go to Spice, I will show I have created a small function, and this function will help us to read the value from the counter.txt. Then I have created this function called display counter. I have said the counter name is counter.txt and the counter voice is equal to 0. And if a file exists counter name, this file here, then we open it for reading in reading mode. Then we read the values inside the counter.txt, and then we turn the counter vol, and then we can say echo display counter. Now if I save this file and I open Google Chrome, then refresh, you can see here we have got 2. Then in order to get the total number of visitors for your website, make sure you include these codes, this code in the top of each page of your website which you want to be counted. And you can use this function to read the values from your counter.txt. So that is how you can count the number of visitors to your website, and how you can display the values from the text file you have been using to count the number of visitors who have been visiting your website. Thank you for watching. In the next video, I will be showing you how you can detect the most visited pages in your website. Thank you. Do not forget to subscribe, share, and like this video. Thank you.